Oh my God, how good's that? Get in there. The Final Flight podcast is back. Welcome back, Joe and Rich. We've had a little bit of a break and now we're going to have a little bit of a debrief of the Cheltenham Festival. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. It was a very interesting week, I'll say. We did okay in the end, but Rich, how do you feel after Cheltenham, mate?
Exhausted. It's been good to have a break, but yeah, it was good. I thought it was all right, actually. I thought the week was pretty good as a whole.
Yeah, Joe, did you have a good mate? I know you went down. Did you? It was your first ever Cheltenham, wasn't it? Did you enjoy it, mate?
Yeah, loved it, mate. Obviously, my first time there, here in the Raw on the Tuesday. It was brilliant, to be fair. Loved it. Like I say, now I think it's just starting to catch up to me now. I think I set off on the Monday morning at about 4:00 and I didn't get back on the Thursday with the train problems till about 2:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's took a while to recover, but we're getting there now. I'm ready to debrief and talk through the races.
Yeah, good man. Like I say, we had a great build up to the festival. The Ante show. I mean, for me, was a massive success. We've had winners, we've had losers, but just having the jockeys on every week and having their input and things like that it was a good build up, and it seems to have that people have really enjoyed it. So we'll definitely be giving that another go next year when it comes around. But yeah, so tonight's show then, yeah, we're just going to have a quick run through the main sort of races and any sort of interesting results and what we thought about it. We'll talk about how our teams went on, and then we did have a competition running, but there's kind of only a one-horse race at the moment. So I've just remembered to get Rich. You're gonna have to check for the name for me if you can remember the name. But we'll get that up and announce that later, and then we'll probably just announce a little bit of sort of giving an idea what we're going to do for the flat season, because obviously we're rolling straight into that. We've already had the link, and I know these two lads will be itching to get stuck into it, especially when the classics run around and the Guineas and things like that. So, I mean, a quick word on that, Rich and Joe. I mean, are you looking forward to the flat kicking off proper soon in a few weeks?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I watched a little series on Amazon Prime the other night called Horsepower, and it really got me in the mood. I think they follow Andrew Baldwin and Oisin Murphy. They go through the classics and Ascot, and looking back through old photos of me at Ascot last year and us at York, and I can't wait. Sun on the back, fast horses, expensive horses. I can't wait.
Rich, I mean, it'll be fast horses, double figure prices, and upsets, no doubt. What do you think?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Lincoln was it was a good day. I think the flat's going to be a decent season. Hopefully, get some stats in, some trends. That's what we like. Get the draws in.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be many 1 to 4 shots getting turned over anyway, will there? But it'll certainly be fun. Right, boys, enough about the flat. That's coming very soon. So, day one then kicked us off the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Obviously, we had a lot of talk about a few in here. Jericho de Repenay, Slade Steele coming here and was the eventual winner. Andy was my captain in the Antipost team, so kicked off with a winner. I was absolutely screaming at the TV. It was brilliant. That was probably the only highlight of my week, but it was good to get off to a flyer with Slade Steele. Joe, mate, I'll fly to you first. There's obviously Mystical Power near Firefox. We had a couple of runs at this. What did you think of the result, mate, and what do you think of Slade Steele?
Yeah, I mean, I think Slade Steele's a good one. I think Henry said after, didn't he? They were basically dodging Ballyburn wherever Ballyburn didn't go. He was going to land, and I think that's why you sort of picked any race, wasn't it, in a way? I think you sort of come to that conclusion that there were, he was probably one of the best novice, well, the second best novice in the division. The one that definitely caught my eye, though, was Mystical Power. I was stood bang on the finishing line, and when they trotted past, every horse was blowing. Mystical Power wouldn't have even blown a candle out, honestly. I'll definitely be backing that horse on the reappearance at Ireland. I just think, the soft going and the hill at Cheltenham, like I was saying before there, it was my first time there. I didn't realise how steep that hill is, at the end of a very fast-paced Supreme. I think Slade Steele was definitely the best horse on the day and the best steer. But for me, I think Mystical Power improved massively. Seemed to get there with ease and then just, idle and not finish his race off. But, taking nothing away from Slade Steele and your nice captain there. That was a brilliant performance. And then, Pooh and Nicky Jericho de Repmanair looked in trouble, didn't he? A long way out, and I think that told the story for the week for Nicky.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll get onto a lot of it as we talk through it. It's a shame for Nicky what kind of went on, but you know, it's just one of them unfortunate things. I did, like you said there, I went with Slade Steele of any race. I know I've kind of ended up winning with the double points with the captain, but I did think it was a solid bet. So I did think whichever way Ballyburn went, he'd go the opposite. So it made perfect sense to me, and it obviously played out really well. So yeah, I did think he would beat when Mystical Power come up alongside him. I thought that was the one who was going to go on and win it, but luckily Slade Steele obviously stayed on quite strongly and finished off his race quite well. Rich, you got an opinion on that? How the Supreme went?
It was a good race. I don't think it was a vintage renewal. I think the first two will be very good. Mystical Power looked like he was going to win it. I just think he outstayed. You know, the ground was soft. Better ground. I'd be quite happy for him to reverse the form of Slade Steele personally. But yeah, I think it'd be quite exciting for those two going over the fences. Probably Mystical Power probably stay around 2 miles for the Arkle, I assume. Slade Steele probably wants a bit further. But yeah, we'll see next season. But yeah, I think those two are good. And yeah, got us off to a good start.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And like I say, I think we've got a bit of a Constitution Hill style situation where people will be waiting to see what Ballyburn's going to do if he goes chasing or if he stays over hurdles. That might sway other people, but I do think Slade Steele's a very good horse going forward. But I do think there'll be a lot to come out of that Supreme. I think it looked pretty good on paper. So yeah, see where they all end up next season. Right then, the Arkle, the Enigma. Rich, I'll come to you, mate. Gaelic Warrior. Didn't you have him for the Turners? Is that correct? You had him for the Turners, didn't you?
Fine. I don't care. Just to see him finally win at Cheltenham was just a sight to behold. I backed him for the Boodles when he came second. I backed him in the Turners, was it, where he came second, and I backed him in the Arkle where he finally got his head in front. I mean, if you look at the race again, it's probably not a vintage renewal, but he was the best horse in that field. You know, excuse me, he beat Founder 50 by 8.5 lengths. I mean, nothing got near him, to be fair. I didn't think he jumped too bad, actually, apart from maybe the second last. So, yeah, would he go down the champion chase route? Maybe. I don't know. Would he step him back up now to the Gold Cup with Woolley having factor file and all that? It's going to be interesting, but yeah, I'd definitely be backing him again next year, wherever he turns up. You know, I think he's got some engine on him. Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, if they did keep him over 2 miles, it'd be some champion chase. If you're going to have the likes of potentially Marine Nationals and the players, you know, them sort of
won't get there.
You never know. But yeah, I was mega impressed with Gaelic Warrior. I'll be honest with you. I thought the jumping out to the right and all that. I just thought something was just going to scupper him. I thought Quilixios was one that I kind of sided with a little bit, as well as that Matata I didn't post, but he didn't quite perform. Quilixios got, well, I mean, the start was a bit of a shambles. I think they spoke about it after Rachel got caught napping, and I think she was shouting like, no, it was going to be a false start, and off they went, and before you knew it, she was miles back, and obviously got to use that energy to get up there, and that was his race done, really. But no, I think there's not much for me to say. I think Gaelic Warrior smashed it. I think he's obviously a very, very good animal, and going forward, I'd love to keep him over 2 mile. I think he's just got that, you know, he's got an engine that'll just go for days, and I just think he has got the speed, although it wasn't a vintage renewal, so I'd like to see him in a better race, but yeah, we'll see where he goes. I thought the jumping out to his right didn't really even affect him. If anything, I thought he got carried to his right a little bit. I think it was Founder 50 jumped out to his right at the second last, I think it was.
Punchestown will be quite exciting if he turns up in a race.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, it makes the mouth water a little bit now for these entries and your Punchestowns, because there could be, especially with the Nicky's horses all sort of being pulled out and things like that. If they're all backfiring, they're coming in fresh. It's going to throw up some good battles, you'd like to think. Joe, thoughts on the Arkle?
Yeah, 100%, mate. It was nice to see Gaelic Warrior in front. I just couldn't have him, to be honest. I know, Rich, you were very keen, but his Cheltenham record, and to be fair, you know, just before the race started, I said, you know, looking at the field, really, talent-wise, he is the best. And you'll probably find after, you know, 3 fences, if he's jumping straight, he's going to win comfortably. And, you know, you might see him jump massively out to his right, you know, as they do the left turn, and you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, he won it easily in the end, didn't he? Like you say there, I think I had something daft like £5 each way on the course on Colixios, and the race just never happened for him or Rachel. Found a 50, look, come there swinging, but Gaelic Warrior's got some engine and some speed for a horse who could potentially be up to 3 mile. In my opinion, very, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how he basically went from Stayers Hurdle favourite to Brown Advisory favourite to Turner's favourite to Arkle winner. I mean, it's it just makes you think when it comes to Willie Mullins bingo, you really have got absolutely no chance trying to guess which way they're going to go at the early start of the season. But yeah, no, fair play to Gaelic Warrior. He finally got his Cheltenham victory, and he'll surely get more going forward. Right then, Champion Hurdle. Obviously, massive news that Constitution Hill was obviously out, and it made Stateman the favourite. Then Irish Point, directed from the Stayers, he was in here. The rest of them were really not much of a muchness, but there's not really much to say in it apart from I think it was just good to see Stateman get a Champion Hurdle under his belt. People will say there's an asterisk next to it because Constitution Hill there, blah blah, which is fine. You can say that, but at the end of the day, like Willie Mullins said, you've got to turn up to win. Fortunately, Constitution Hill didn't make it. I'd love now to see him go to Punchestown and beat Stateman in his own backyard. That is what I think we're all praying for, because I think it'd be great for the sport for him to do it. The fact that he's missed Cheltenham might mean they actually go that way. Joe, do you think it'll happen? Did you enjoy watching Stateman while you were there?
Yeah, I loved it. To be honest with you, I was really impressed with Irish Point as well. I think he's some animal. Obviously, it's just unlucky that they've got Tiupu in the Stayers division. I think he would have been there this year. When you look at the form, Lucia, obviously for Nicky in third, 3 lengths behind. I think if Constitution Hill's in there, he wins countless lengths. Don't get me wrong, it was brilliant to see Stateman have his day in the sun, but I just think Constitution Hill's, a world apart from Stateman still. I know a lot of people say, oh, he's improved and whatnot, but I really do think Constitution Hill could go to Punchestown. He could go anywhere and beat Stateman. But yeah, I'd love to see him go to Punchestown. I don't think he will, to be honest. The way Nicky's talking already, we'd love to take him, but if he's not 100%, we won't take him. A horse of that caliber, we've seen it before that they haven't taken him over there. I just think they'll just refresh, reset. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get to see Constitution Hill at the Fighting Fifth next season, and they'll have him A1 for then. I think that's the route they'll take, and they'll try and get a few runs into him this year. But yeah, like I say, it was brilliant to see Stateman win, and I was really impressed with Irish Point too.
Yeah, I'd agree with those points, mate. I mean, Rich, like I say, I think Stateman deserved his win, and it was a decent race. Although, I mean, it would have been anticlimactic anyway, really, if Constitution had been there anyway. We'd have been saying he's just going to go win. The Stateman goes and wins, but yeah, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, Stateman's a good horse. If Con Hill wasn't around, he'd probably won it last year as well. So it was good to get his Champion Hill win. So yeah, it was good. I thought he did it well. I think next year there'll be some race if Con Hill, Lossiemouth turns up, potentially Ballyburn, Stateman. I think it'll be some race if that happens. But yeah, just hopefully Con Hill comes back and hopefully see him before the end of the season and bring it on next year.
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a bit of talk, wasn't there, about obviously Ballyburn. I think Mullins mentioned would keep him in a Champion Hurdle. I'm not so sure. I don't think you'll end up with Stateman, Lossiemouth, and Ballyburn all in the same race. Put it that way. So I think if Stateman's A1, it'd be interesting to see if he. I could just see something like Lossiemouth ended up in the mare. I mean, we'll move on while we talk about it. So obviously she won the mare's hurdle, and she absolutely hosed up. We're all thinking, right, soft ground. The question marks about staying before the rain came and the ground come up really soft. But I mean, she's absolutely bolted up here, and there's not really much else to say. I was mega impressed. I think fair play. I personally can see her ending up in this again next year. Me, I don't know about you. I'll come to you, Rich. I know you're shaking your head, and people will say, right, she should go Champion Hurdle. Now, I think she should go Champion Hurdle. 100% she should, because she's the best mare out there. She's fantastic. She'll get the allowance. But if Stateman wins all the races in Ireland again, why would you put Lossiemouth in there against Stateman when she'll win the mares blindfolded? What do you think?
Uh,
You get what I mean?
but all the vibes are like Richie said that they can't wait to take Conhill on next year. So I'm pretty confident that they will go for it.
She's got to go beat Stateman at Punchestown first, hasn't she? Or will they?
I mean that's what Willie will do. They'll throw them together and we'll see who's the best. I think Lossiemouth is a machine. You know, she's great. I love her. With the mare's allowance, I think she probably beats Stateman personally.
Different against the boys, though. I will say that.
Honeysuckle did it. I think she could be as good as Honeysuckle personally.
I suppose the counter argument to that would be a lot of people might say that it's more the Champion Hurdle's harder now than it was when Honeysuckle won it. If that makes sense, do you know what I mean?
Only because there's one decent horse in it.
Not a bad one, though, is it?
No, that's what I mean. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
you know, Conhill is going to be another year older. Lossie's going to be another year older. Mare's allowance. I think it's going to be some race. She probably won't win, but I can't wait to see it. And
I mean, it would be good. It'd be great for the sport if they threw them all in. Chuffing hell, yeah.
I think she's cracking. I think she'll beat State Mine Island next year, and she'll be in the taking on Conhill in the Champion Hurdle next festival.
Well, we'll see, Joe. What are your thoughts? I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they are campaigned with them all being Willies. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we've obviously got Punchestown Festival coming up. Will they put them all together? That's the question. We shall see. Take it away.
Yeah, 100%. In my opinion, I think she'll go a mare's race, and then I think next season they'll give her a break and they'll bring her back and they'll take on Stateman. I do think she's better than Stateman with the allowance. You know, you can't take form literally, but Lucia finished 3.5 lengths behind with a mare's allowance in that race. You know, Lossiemouth's all speed. I think she's an absolute machine. I wouldn't say I doubted her, but I personally didn't back her. I couldn't have backed her at 8-13 on heavy ground, taking on the trip for the first time. But you know, she was, to be honest, she was probably one of my most impressive winners of the week. I think she done it. You know, whether the form's as good, I don't know, but I think she done it in better style and fashion than Stateman. You know, they've got to take the chance. For me, I think this season just shows it in terms of, I bet there was a lot of horses who weren't declared for the Champion Hurdle because Conhill and Stateman were in there. All of a sudden, Conhill comes out and Stateman turns up 2-5. You know, what was he? 4-1 before. You know, anything can happen. For me, like you both said it there. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be brilliant. And you know, Richie's not a man to be scared of taking a challenge, as we've seen Vauban going onto the flat and going to the Melbourne Cup. I just think if there's anyone that would do it, you know, Buckley may send it to the mares, but I feel like this man will send a Champion Hurdle. I hope so anyway. I think it'd be a cracker.
Yeah, and there's a final point. John's in. Good evening, John, mate. Thanks for tuning in. He's put, they won't beat Conhill if fit. I thought Champion Hurdle was Paul. The cheer wasn't far behind. Constitution Hill too good for this lot if fit. I do agree with you there, John. Yeah, if Constitution Hill's 100% fit, I do think he still wins, and I think he can still get 7-4 for next year's Champion Hurdle. It could look big price come next year.
I don't think it's a bad price at all. You know, I really do think it's a price on if he's going to be fit next season. I genuinely do. I think that price is if he's fit, and I think once you see if he goes and wins the Fighting Fifth, or if he goes to Punchestown and beats Stateman, he's back into 49.
Yeah, to be fair, even if he goes to Aintree or something and just wins, it'd probably be
as soon as everybody knows that he's 100% again, it'll shorten up massively.
100%.
Yeah, it certainly will. Right, then the last race we'll sort of cover is I wanted to talk about the National Chase. Now, this has obviously thrown a lot of controversy up in the air and in a lot of, you know, in the talks of what can we do to improve the Cheltenham Festival, and this is one of the main races that's kind of been spoken about. But I was with Embassy Gardens, and Patrick just had him out back plodding along, and then he got absolutely nowhere near Corbett's Cross. Hold my hands up, mate. Corbett's Cross was mega impressive. I wasn't sure if he'd stay, and he absolutely did. Now, for me, the way that he won that race just tells me that they need to change this race and do something about it. I do think they should throw it back to how it used to be. I think it used to be like a big handicap, so you get loads of runners, make it a lot more harder to win. Because horses like Corbett's Cross should be in the Brown Advisory. The way he won that race, he should have been in the Brown Advisory. Now, I know you've got Factor Foul, Samos, blah, 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 but to me, we need to try and work on ways we can push these horses to go against each other and come to have these super competitive races, which for most of it we didn't really have in a way, but I mean, it didn't take much away from it, but it does a little bit in terms of being able to, enjoy it and get stuck into it and have a bet and things like that. But yeah, for me, Corbett's Cross, mega impressive. Come to you, Joe. I think he should have been in the Browns. I think he'd have probably give Factor Foul a race because he just tanked through that and he obviously stays and jumps so well. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the whole race in a whole, mate?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got an engine and he's got talent. He was the talk of Cheltenham last year before he ran out, wasn't he? Honestly, mate, Patrick's done it a few times in this race in years before. Gerard de Menils is one that sticks in my mind. After he come back in, he said we had the fault. The horse. It was the horse who fell out in front.
Marla Mission fell when looking like he were going to absolutely bolt up.
Yeah, we had Marla Mission covered, and I don't think he did. And the same year, I think he a circuit ago, you're thinking, yeah, fair enough, stick him out the back, but give the winner something to think about. They were never on the same terms. He was going to have to be some horse to put Corbett's Cross away. Like you say, Corbett's Cross could have probably, been in the Brown Advisory, and you've got to be pushing him all the way. So yeah, he made a bad mistake too, didn't he? On the rest of the field, Kilbeg King, Apple away. I feel like the top two in the market were just better than these, but definitely Corbett's Cross. He blew them away, didn't he?
Certainly did. Rich, what are your thoughts, mate?
I like the national change. I wouldn't change anything. It's not like he went off odds on. It was, what was he, 15-8?
15-8.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I quite like the race just because he's better than everything else. Doesn't really bother me.
So you like what? Like basically like a 2-horse race? Do you not think a horse like Corbett's Cross should have been in the Brown Advisory?
Not if I were JP, no.
Yeah, but put yourself in the spectator shoes rather than a billionaire owner's shoes who don't really care.
No, I thought it was a cracking performance. I just like seeing horses win well. He won by 17 odd lengths. It was a cracking performance for me, so I would keep it where it is. Yeah, I was with you. I didn't think he would jump as well as he did. I thought Embassy Gardens would throw it up to him, but I was wrong. And fair play, it was a cracking performance. I'd like to see him back it up though, just to make sure that it wasn't just a fluke. I mean, he won by 17 odd lengths, so it probably wasn't.
Well, he won a nothing race, didn't he?
Well, Embassy Gardens was all the rage with you, so it can't have been that of a nothing race. I thought it was a good race, a good performance. Keep it where it is. Don't change anything. Don't go to 5 days. Keep everything the same.
I agree, to be honest.
Right, well, we're going to disagree on that, and I think you're miles off, to be honest.
I don't like change.
I'm surprised you don't want to see the best against the best, I suppose is what I'm saying.
It was a 15-8 winner. It's not like it was that bad.
I agree, but then I do think that that it's the national chase. I feel if you change it too much, would it all sort of go to potting? Not go to potting away, but like Rich said,
it were a good race before they changed it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it won't take anything away from the race. The race will still be a very competitive race. It'll be a competitive race. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where it's like when we talk about the mares. People want Lossiemouth in the Champion Hurdle, but she won't go to the Champion Hurdle because she'll win the mares easy. This is a race where you're ending up now with very small fields, and you're getting the odd really good novice chaser just basically going and winning it when they should be taking on the best in the Browns. That's where the best novice staying chasers should be. That's what I think anyway. Where the handicap, what it was before, was a competitive race for other people to get involved. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, not 100%.
If you don't want to change it, fair enough.
I just think sometimes, obviously, you mentioned Factor File and Corbett's Cross. Would McManus then go and say, well, we won't run him, we wait for a different festival? Or, you've seen with Irish Point and TU, they had to split them up. Irish Point could have easily, that Rob Corr could have easily said, well, we won't run him there. We'll obviously some owners will just split them up and won't be bothered if it's a race to suit because they might have a race next year or the year after. But in my opinion, anyway, at least we're sort of seeing them in a way because would they want to clash so many? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But,
if you do get rid of races,
you're talking about
owners potentially won't run their horses against each other, so you're going to be missing out on potential superstars. So.
That's a lot of bollocks. That JP McManus, who was a billionaire owner who constantly runs more than one horse in a race, would not lose any sleep over two running in a top race.
No, that's what I said.
Rob Corr only split up. Oh, Rob Corr only split Irish Point and thing up because Constitution Hill were out. That were an anomaly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But I just think, obviously, I know I've only named two owners there, but when you have a few more or different owners in there, they might just say, look, we might not win the Browns and we're not going to win, a competitive handicap because we're too high in the weights or whatever. We'll just go entry and we'll just save them.
Should be taking each other on all season, not just Cheltenham.
Yeah,
it's not Cheltenham that needs to change.
Yeah, but the biggest week of the year. If Corbett's Cross runs in the Browns, if there's no national chase option for him, 1,000,000% it runs them together. Does Aidan O'Brien split him up as much as that when it comes to like Royal Ascot and stuff? When he has about 4 in a Group 1 or whatever,
he'll split them up. But I mean, with Aidan, it's different. He has horses. He sort of knows that he'll set a pace. He'll have a horse running out in front. He'll have Augusta Rodan sitting behind. We've seen it in. What was the race with King? Was it King of Steel in there over in Ireland? When they set the race up perfectly. I don't think jumps racing's, as similar in terms of you get a lot of front runners where I think the flat's more focused on if you want to be a front runner, if you want to be covered, if you want to be behind the draws and stuff like that. So when the decks come out, you'll sort of have horses in there to set the pace and sit in behind and settle them. Where I completely agree. You want more competitive races. You want the big price winners. You want to see the best against the best. But I think in terms of racing wise, you're always going to, especially at Cheltenham, you're always going to try and see them split up to win races. Or, we've seen the entry trend. Will we miss that and go to entry? Will we miss that and go to Punchestown? We'll go to Punchestown fresh. You've seen it already with fun and horses who missed their all the rage. For the Punchestown race. So, yeah, like I say, you don't know. If they change something, I think they've got to change. I don't think they could just change one race. I think they'd have to, look at changing the full thing maybe in terms of handicaps and graded races. But I just wouldn't want them to go so far-fetched where they go, 5 days and, you end up 4-runner fields and stuff like that.
The thing with the flat is...
we're already 4-runner fields in races sometimes.
The thing with the flat campaign is horses are taking each other on all the time. So you've got the Royal Ascot Gold Cup, and you've got the Ascot Champions Day. There's many races the horses are continuously taking each other on, whereas on the jumps, everything revolves around Cheltenham.
Yeah, so if everything revolves around Cheltenham and there's not as many options, then they have to take each other on, or otherwise they miss the biggest week of the year. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna miss it. Is what I'm
100%. But
why don't they just have a special Champions Day like they do on the Flat Ascot, where you just have one day of championship races where you don't have 4-5 days of national hunt chases, Browns, Gold Cups. You have one Gold Cup champion over 3 miles for grades.
Well, that's what Cheltenham's. This is what I'm saying. This is what Cheltenham's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. So get rid of all the shitty options where they might have get them where they have to go against each other. And I think like Kevin Blake's obviously massive on it. Some of the changes he's put forward are exactly what needs to happen. And we'll move on. I can't believe you're shaking your head, mate, because it has to change. Cheltenham has to change in a way, otherwise you're just going to get this rubbish all the time.
The one thing for me is obviously as well is when you're looking at it, prize money.
I wouldn't change the novice races. I'd maybe change the open company races. I'd maybe agree with you there, but I wouldn't change the novice.
Like people will say, "Why have we got Turners?" Why have we got Turners? I mean, it kind of ended up being the best race this time now, but it's too diluted I know you might mention prize money there, but these people probably aren't even that bothered about the prize money. Nobody's in it to win money. We all know that anyway. So I don't even think that's even an issue. I just think there needs to be. You're talking about millionaires. They're not bothered about the prize money. That they know they're going to lose money when they buy horses. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Very rarely you're going to win enough.
When you look at like breeding, so important, and what races horses have won. I mean, the Brown Advisory Factor Files won 100,000.
I'm sure JP's.
Corbett's Crosses won 69,000. I know it's not huge. Obviously, JP's, we're talking about, one of the richest men in racing. But, when you've got maybe, different yards in there, maybe like the Skeltons or something, if you've got like a Grey Dawn and you want to split them up, or, you've got, there's racing now, you've got, the JPs and, you've got your big owners, but a lot of racing now is made, there's not that. So racing, you've got like your JPs and stuff, which own probably 50% of the best horses. Your Rob Cars and stuff like that. Kenny Alexander's got a few good ones. After that, a lot of them are syndicates and stuff like that. So they'd love a day out winning, a graded race at Cheltenham over a handicap. That's sometimes what I think as well. But if you can get a second there over a 10th in the Brown Advisory, I think you're going to take that route.
I like it how it is, so I wouldn't change anything. There you go.
Well, let's move on to the next day.
On to the Wednesday.
You two seem to want a diluted festival. That's fair enough, but I'd rather have it more competitive. But yeah, anyway, the Gallagher then on the first day. Obviously, Ballyburn absolutely bolted up. The question mark now will be where does he go next? I'd probably say I'd send him chasing. I won't mess about over hurdles unless you think you can beat him. Mind you, look at Imperial Pass, won the Ballymore last year, didn't go chasing, ended up back over hurdles, all went to pot. I don't think they'll do the same with this fella. I think he'll go chasing, in my opinion. They'll probably end up in something like a Turner's, even though I don't even think they should have a Turner's, but I think that's the way they might end up going. I thought Il Atlantique was one of my other selections in my team. He ran well for a place at a big price, so I was happy with that. Overall, it was a good race for me. Unlucky again for Endo. Jinko Blue pulling up another one. Obviously, we know the story of the week for poor Endo. But yeah, I thought Ballyburn, he's probably up there with Constitutional in that he can be spoken about in that sort of sense. Rich, I was mega impressed. What about you?
Yeah, it was a decent performance. Everybody expected him to win whatever race he turned up in. And yeah, he just did what was expected. I'm with you. I think they'll go chasing with him. I don't think they'll hang about going down Champion Hurdle route. I just think they'll send him chasing. Like you say, it's going to be Turners or Browns. It's one of those again. Willie tends to normally send them down to the Turners, but with Factor File, he went down the Browns, so who really knows? But yeah, I think he goes chasing, personally.
Well, when your strongest rival ends up at National and Chase, he probably might go at Browns. So, Joe, what do you thought of Ballyburn?
Turner's horse for me, mate. I think he was mighty impressive. I think there's a lot of people, to be fair, that go to Cheltenham who must not watch racing because everyone's, oh my, he's carrying his head so low. What's going on? He's done it all the way throughout his career. But yeah, I don't think they'll mess on with Champion Hurdle route. I think they'll take the same route as Galloping Deschamps, Turners, and then on to a Gold Cup, in my opinion. Anyway, how old is Ballyburn now? Is he 6-year-old? So he'd be 7. He'd be seven next season, 8 for a Gold Cup. It sort of works out perfectly, doesn't it? I think he'd definitely go chasing.
Yeah, it's certainly been interesting to watch. And one thing I will mention as well, it's not often you get a Willie Mullins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 either.
I know.
Mercury ran well. I quite like that horse.
Yeah.
41 or something daft. Finished 4th.
Yeah, I don't think he got a place anti-post though. I think it would have been top 3 anti-post, wouldn't it? But yeah, another horse that I've never got on with. But no, I thought Il Atlantique ran a decent race, but honestly, nothing was getting anywhere near Ballyburn. He's an absolute rocket and fair play. Hopefully, he stays injury-free and he can kick on over fences and give it a good crack. Right then, the Brown Advisory, Factor File. Obviously, this was one of them days. It was a bit of a odds-on favourite day. He obviously won again pretty easy. I mean, Stay Away Fair didn't perform at all, really pulled up a few snatchy jumps, which were unfortunate. I did think he was going to run well in this. Monty Star was the horse that followed him home. He's obviously another really good jumper. American Mike made way too many mistakes, unfortunately for him. But yeah, Factor File. I do think he won it really well. He looks a very, very talented horse, and I think he's going to be right up there. I mean, you're talking quotes already. I think it was 4-1 I saw for the Gold Cup. I mean, to me, that is pretty crazy. And it just shows how tough anti-post betting is going to be. I mean, it's already tough as it is anyway, but if you're talking the main races, it's going to be even harder. Joe, what are your thoughts on Factor File? And I suppose, do you think he's got a chance at taking on the machine that is Galloping next year?
I think they'll send him there, but whether he'll beat him, I'm not too sure. For a horse who's, went from, national and flat to chasing, how many runs did he have chasing this season? 4. So he's had 4 chase starts. I know he was beaten on his first start over fences, but you can forgive that. He was given a bit of an easy time. He beat Gaelic Warrior, did Gaelic Warrior blow out? I'm not too sure, but it was a 2-runner race. He's won this well. I was impressed with Monty Star, to be honest. I played the forecast. I was really keen on Monty Star to follow him home. They've clearly nursed Factor File this season, haven't they? He was a big baby in the flat, and they've sort of took the time with him this year. I think he'll definitely improve next year, but 4-1 for the Gold Cup next year is absolutely bonkers. I mean, even before he won this race, I think he was about 9-1 in places for the Gold Cup. I mean, that's mental. I think on the day, if Galopin Des Champs turn up, Jerry Colombe turns up, and all the others, we've talked about in the anti-post market, I think you'll be 4-1 on the day anyway. Anyone taking that price for me is absolutely mental, because if Galopin Des Champs takes the same route as he did last year and he does it a little bit better, he's going to probably be bigger than 4-1. I mean, Stay Away Fair, I know John said it there, Scope Dirty post race, that was in the notes of the race in post, so that was pretty disappointing. Will they try and bounce him straight back out? I'm not too sure, but yeah, another good winner for JP. It was a good race.
Yeah, another 100 grand in his behind his sofa for him. Rich. I mean, obviously John said there, Stay Away Fair did Scope Dirt, so that was unfortunate for them on the day. But yeah, Factor File, impressive. Anticlimax a little bit, but yeah, where do you think he goes next? Do you think he can take him on? Galloping.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll get on to him later, but yeah.
I think he's got a good chance. I was watching some previews, and Tony Mullins was giving this horse all sorts of praise. People in the yard think he's something special, and he performed on the day. I mean, it's going to be another cracking race next year if it happens. But Galloping versus Factor File, Galloping going for the 3, that's going to be some achievement if you can do that. Another year older. Factor File's the new kid on the block, isn't he, for Open Company on the Gold Cup. So again, will we find out early on the season? Will they take each other on? Perhaps. Who knows? But I think 4-1. Yeah, he might go bigger if he doesn't perform, but I can only see him getting shorter once the season starts next year and he keeps winning.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, I mean, I'd take 3-1 Galloping over 4-1 Factor File all day, mate.
100%. For me, anyway. I mean, they either take Galloping on, right from the season. That they take him the same sort of way, and. Let's say, for example, to try and nurse him again, because he's only had 4 runs over fences. If he's outdone by a fast pace or fast or slow fell, or it's a slog and Jerry Colombe runs well or whatever. If he loses his first race or even runs a good race in second against Galloping, he's going to be 6-1, 7-1. But like Rich said there,
or he comes up and beats Jerry Colombe in fast or slow and.
I would be very, very wary backing him at that price now. I would wait and see how he gets on, because novices coming out into Open Company. I mean, look at Jerry Colombe. He's been beaten a few times, but
it's just the way people. It's just the way people are talking in the yard about this horse that they think he's special. And
yeah, they have. To be fair,
they're all special, but he's been beaten by American Mike. He's beat Zana here. He's won a one-horse race because Gaelic basically bombed out. And
He
then
beat the Arkle winner, and
Giovinco. The form's not exactly there until we see. I'd want to see him do something in open.
Giovinco beat the UK's best stay and stay away fay, reverse the form.
We've literally just said, Joe. Even listening? Are you even listening, Rich? He's got dirty, mate.
No, I mean, to be fair,
problem.
They wax lyrical about him. He's definitely a good horse. But for me, even if he wins all of his, I'd rather wait all next season. And even if he goes unbeaten, I think there's no way that horse will be less than 2-1 on the day. And I'd rather take 2-1 on the day, I think, after watching him all season, than 4-1 before he's ran in open company, in my opinion, anyway.
You know what the anti-post marks are like? They'll cut him even if they just see him on the gallop.
Yeah, but I just think on the day, I mean, even, was it Galloping Deschamps this year? I think you could get evens in places, or, I just think sometimes they slash them too early and too, especially now. I mean, you look on Twitter, a horse has been galloping with Constitution Hill, right, 5-1 for the Supreme or whatever. It's mental, isn't it? The anti-post prices.
Yeah, it can be a bit crazy, but I do think I'm trying to be smart. I won't be back in Factor Foul just yet. I'd wait till see what happens at the start of next season, or even the end of this season, see what happens. But I think wait till he's in open company for me and see how he gets on. But yeah, John's put an interesting comment there about Ile Francais, I think it is. He's talking about he might go King George again. He might go King George next year. You think he'd be a massive player in that? I suppose the question would be what the French are thinking of doing with him. Is it the French Gold Cup that he's going to go for? That they're on about him going for instead. So if he wins that, they might do the same route. But yeah, I mean, he were very impressive at Kempton before. So if he goes into we could have a bumper King George this year. To be fair, there'd be some. If he turns up in that, Gaelic Warrior maybe goes. Horses like that. It could be a very interesting race and a good clash, which is what we want. We want the best be the best. Well, some of us do anyway. Right, boys, the Champion Chase.
Well, you've missed one.
Oh, go on then, Joe. I'll let you talk about the absolute stitch-up job that the Skeltons have achieved once again with Langerdam bolting up by 3.5 lengths off the same mark. I mean, I don't want to waste too much time because
I'm just going to brush over it. But
I'll let you have a quick mention of it if you want, Joe. What did you think?
Yeah, to be fair, mate, on the track there was a very big sigh, and I think a lot of people were disappointed to see that he turned up on the same mark. I mean, I was just having a look through the notes before. Dan said straight after the race, he had ulcers. Not a lot of people know he had an operation. He bled last time he ran. All the excuses under the sun. One horse I was impressed with and didn't jump too well. And, on them, the stats we've been seeing about how much horses lose or gain on fences was Ballyadam. Carrying 12 stone, ran a very, very good race. But yeah, this was just the start of it for the Skeltons, wasn't it, in the handicaps? And I think we can move on.
Just a quick one on that. Everybody was upset, but literally everybody knew what they were planning.
No, I agree.
Everybody knew that they were going to try and win it off the same mark. And everybody wasn't happy with it. But literally everybody knew that was the plan.
Someone's Borat's on here, put just siphoning money out of the betting pool all year, mugging the average Joe punter who didn't know the story and then waved a magic wand over the BHA handicapper. I mean, I think it's all right saying people in the know or people who follow it all might know, they can see it's kind of obvious it is happening. But I think the problem that most people had was the handicapper was dropping him in the ratings.
That wasn't Skelton's fault, though.
No, but they're basically running. They're basically. Yeah, but why is the handicapper dropping him when there's stuff like he's bleeding and he's got ulcers and things like that? Like they've clearly just run him completely, no races whatsoever. So I understand that you can say, right, you can't blame Skelton, which you can't.
Rather than 3. The handicapper knows that. Just drop him £1 rather than 3. It'll not happen next year.
No, definitely won't. I agree in a way though. A lot of people were, were like, how's he done that again and stuff. I mean, I was happy to see it. But yeah, I mean, everyone was like, it was obvious it was going to happen. Oh, did you back him? No. And I was a bit like, well, if it's obvious, at least have a little saver on him. But never mind anyway. It was good to see the English get on the board anyway.
Yeah, I think, like I say, the issue is they need to sort out where. I mean, they literally said he bled and they dropped him £2 for it. I mean, that is like almost criminal. It's like, that to me is like somebody's in somebody's pocket here. Do you know what I mean? Or literally, they've backed it themselves. But yeah, obviously, fair play to who backed it. It's one of them again. You know, if you got an average Joe punter, like somebody said, they're looking at and they've seen pulled up 50 lengths or whatever, blah, blah, they would think no chance. But yeah, it's one of them. Probably, you won't think it'd happen again. So yeah, that's probably the last one they'll have. Right. Champion Chase. El Fabiolo, crazy. 2-9 on. Tough race to get involved in if you weren't on him at a decent price. Obviously, if you were on him at a decent price, you end up a little bit gutted because obviously he tried to go through one of the fences. And good old Captain Guinness, who was fancied by a couple as an each-way player, has gone on and won. I mean, I didn't really have any opinion in the race whatsoever because, well, I personally feel like you didn't, unless you were taking just an each-way chance on something, there weren't really any way in getting involved in this race. So, Joe, I mean, you obviously captained El Fabiolo. What were your thoughts when you were seeing it happen?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was one of them. I wasn't on him at a big price and I wasn't going to back him on the day. Obviously, after having Langer Dan, I went for a drink and watched the race with a pint in my hand. And, you know, it was good horsemanship by Paul, you know, just pulling him up. It was a really bad mistake when you watch it. You know, the races completely fell apart. Edwardstone falling, you know, Elixir de Nuts pulled up, El Fabiolo pulled up. You know, you've got in the top three, you've got 100-1, 16-1, and a 17-2. Take nothing away from Captain Guinness, very impressive, but we're definitely not a one having El Fabiolo just jump round. Was a bit disappointing to see for a champion chase, you know, no John Bon, El Fabiolo not finishing, Edwardstone falling. Like I say, take nothing away from Captain Guinness. I know Deck from Tap was on him quite heavily. To be fair, it was nice to see Henry get a big race as well. You know, you've got the big guns from Ireland, and it's nice to see Henry still battling away after seeing Honeysuckle sort of, you know, go to stud.
Yeah, I mean, I come to you, Rich. It ended up a very, very poor Grade 1 in the end. Obviously, no John Bon. El Fabiolo falling early. Edwardstone fell. And Captain Guinness has picked up the race. I mean, you can only say fair play, and that's about it, really. I don't think Captain Guinness is going to be winning anything Grade 1 level going forward. But, yeah, jumping's the aim of the game at the end of the day, isn't it? But it just kind of fell into a bit of a sort of damp squib of a race, I thought.
It's been a graveyard race of punters for a few years now, in my opinion. You know, if John Bon was running, he'd have beaten all these. To be fair, let's be honest with you. Yeah, Captain Guinness, I think, won't win another Grade 1 anytime soon unless something similar happens and all the big guns fail to perform. But yeah, it's just to me this was the worst race of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't want to get too negative because obviously, you know, I do enjoy Cheltenham and you know, we will enjoy it every year and it'll come round again, blah blah. This day just, I mean, it fell away. I mean, obviously, if you have winners, it might be a bit different, but I just thought it fell away a little bit this day. Obviously, you had 3 of the 4 first races were all odds-on favourites, and they would have all won. Obviously, then El Fabiolo didn't win. Then you had the cross-country, which had been called off, which is a whole other argument. I do think they need to take a little bit more care and attention. I know they only use the course maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but having a race called off just kind of put knife in the old gut for me for that day. So I kind of switched off after this. But yeah, I suppose the only other race we'll speak about then, if you want to, want to mention the bumper? I mean, I think that Jasmine DeVoe obviously won it really well. Romeo Coolio comes second. Again, it's Willie Mullins and Paddy in the bumper. Jasmine DeVoe looks a very nice horse, though. Do you lads any words on Jasmine?
No, I'll just wait to see how the form stacks out next year.
I won't be making the mistake of backing a bumper winner for Cheltenham again next year. I'll wait, I think.
No, yeah, you know, Jasmine was impressive. I thought Romeo Coolio ran a brilliant race. You know, he drifted massively. I think he went off somewhere like 20-1, 18-1 or something around that. You know, he's just been headed at the end, but, you know, one for me. You know, Gordon he was all the rage, wasn't he? And he looked very workmanlike in Fairy House. But he definitely improved on that run. Like I say, he's probably for me anyway, one to take out of that. Jasmine DeVoe could be anything, but I thought Romeo Coolio, after having one run looking very workmanlike, ran a very, very good race there.
Yeah, I'll just put this comment up from good old Borat. It was put, personally, I found it hard to eke any value out on the day. Too many previous nights social media hype smashed the prices. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you there. Like you say, if you were coming into that day fresh and you weren't really anti-post punt and you were trying to have a bet, that's what I was getting at. You couldn't really have a bet unless you were lumping the favourites or just taking a chance at something, maybe a couple of quid each way. It just made it very difficult. But it is what it is. It is what it is. That's how it fell. And what can you do? Right, moving on then. Thursday, bit of a different day on the Thursday. I thought it were pretty competitive on the Thursday, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, the Turners, Grey Dawning was the winner. I thought Grey Dawning and Ginny's Destiny were both fantastic. I thought they both jumped really well and were not for catching. I was a little bit disappointed in John Joe and Irocco. Obviously, we've been big on Irocco, and it was great to see him back. It was only his second run. It was probably a lot more heart over head, but I did think he travelled pretty well and jumped superbly anyway. I just thought he never got put in the race. Same with Fast Vega, really. I don't know whether it's just one of them races similar to last year with Stage Down. They just let the front couple get off, jump, and off they went. They were jumping away at pace and they weren't for catching. And Grey Dawning's just outstaging his Destiny. So, yeah, fair play to the Skeletons again. What did you think, Joe?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Obviously, I was back home for this one. Ginny's Destiny, ran his race. Grey Dawning as well. I think they were, in my opinion, the only two who properly ran the race. Grey Dawning was brilliant, I thought. Just showed that fence he smashed. Where was it out? Was it Haydock? Warwick? No. It was at Cheltenham, sorry.
He smashed one every race he's had, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You just think all of them. All of them, he's done it somewhere.
At Cheltenham, though, against Ginny's Destiny, when he wasn't lucky, turned that form round. I think when Harry come back in, he basically said, our boys run his race. He was just beat by a better horse. Irocco, was it John Joe? Were they just sort of minding him? It was always going to be tough to win a race like that. He did stick on in the end. We know he probably is going to want further in time. Fast Vega's just very disappointing. Willie said after the race, they don't know what they're going to do. I think he said they might not work him so hard next time because what he showed on the gallops at home was very good. And he didn't show that on the track at all. They might try and bring him in fresh with not much work at home. I don't know, but I just think like it was a race where the front two sort of went away and then front two never looked in danger.
Yeah, I mean, Rich, obviously great. I mean, Irocco, I do think he weren't really putting it. I think he's been beat 14 lengths. I feel like he was 14 lengths away from the winners all the way around the whole race. But, yeah, I think he's one. I'll definitely, stick with him going forward. If they're looking at entry and things like that, he'll come on for the run. Obviously, only his second chase starting open company. So, yeah. But, yeah, Grey Dawning impressive. Like somebody's put in the comments there, he turned the form around with Ginny's Destiny when he did smash the fencing. And he jumped perfectly fine, and he won it quite convincingly in the end.
Yeah. Like I say, Irocco, probably not one of John Joe's best rides. I think he should have been a bit closer, but hey ho. Grey Dawning. I get El Fabiola vibes. He's probably the best horse in there, but he's prone to mistake, and just when you think he's bushed up, he'll hit a fence and it'll be game over for the race. But yeah, the two just went off, didn't they? And nothing could get near him. Would they have a chance in a Gold Cup? I can't see it. I see potentially winning a Ryanair maybe next year, but I think the Skeletons probably want to try and win a Gold Cup. So I can see Grey Dawning throwing his hat into that ring, but yeah.
No, I think he'll go handicapping next year. I think he'll have two nosebleeds, ulcers, an operation, and he'll win off 130.
So how good would a Brown advisory have been of Corbett's Cross Factor Foul Grey Dawning? That'd have been some race, wouldn't it? But we'll probably never get. If you lads were in charge, we'd never get it. Right. So the Ryanair, obviously MVLN. Gee whiz! I mean, he's come there absolutely swinging, or seemingly so. I thought he was going to do the same as last year and pick up Protector at. I mean, a horse that's been up and down all season. We obviously had Skelton on. He said, he's 100 mile an hour all the time and all that. And I thought, I can't believe he's gone and won this. But you just have to sit back and say fair play. Stage Star probably didn't fully perform. Banbridge, like we said before, I mean, the ground probably went against him anyway. We were well beaten. And that's about it in this. But I had him violin. I was gutted. What can you do? Protector at fair play. I can't stand Sir Alex Ferguson either, so it was like a double whammy. Joe, what did you think of Stage Star and Skelton getting another winner?
Yeah, I mean, Stage Star ran his race. He just wasn't good enough. He jumped out in front. He led. He got he got what he wanted, but in the end, it was just class that caught him out. Like you say, Protectorate. Little things stuck in my mind from Harry Cobden. He's a nutcase. He can often miss a jump, and it upsets him, and he doesn't really, want to go after that. And after watching him at Haydock, where they thought he was a bit of a certainty, it was going to be a 2-horse race, brave man's game. And he sort of blew out, and then he went into handicaps carrying a high weight and just seemed to do too much running the race. And I just thought, against horses like Stage Star and M Violin, M Violin's meant to be a big disappointment, but at the end of the day, he's got an absolute great CV of winning races in away. Capodanno, won in England last time. Stage Star, obviously, classy horse. Banbridge, I know the sort of conditions went against him, but I just thought there was too much in there and too many things Protectorate could do to get him beat. But, fair play. The Skeltons had it off, didn't they? And M Violin, like you say, looked swinging, but Protectorate definitely dug deep.
Yeah, I did. What did you think, Rich? I can't. I mean, it'd be that much of a blur. I can't really remember who picked what. But did you have a pick in the Ryanair?
I picked Gallagher, but I did back Protectorate anti-post. A £5 at 33 to 1. So
it's a bit of after timing, is it?
I can't remember when I backed it, but yeah, I backed it.
Don't worry about it. Take it. It's a win.
But fair play to you look at his form over the season. Apart from the Betfair Chase where he bombed out, he has held his form quite well. He finished third behind Shishkin. He finished third in a handicap at top weight at Cheltenham where Broadway Boy won it. Second to Hell on Press. His form's been in the bag and stepping back in trip. Throughout the season, his form just looks like he needs to step back and trip, and that's what they did, and it worked. So, yeah, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but I thought it was a good winner. M. Violin always turns up at Cheltenham. I think his time's probably gone now. I don't think he'll win it next year. I think he might place again, but I don't think he'll get as close. Conflate finished third. I think, personally, he goes to the cross country next year. Yeah, we'll see what.
For that one, aren't you? Desperate for that one.
I think he takes the Delta Work mantle next season.
I'm gutted it got called off, to be honest.
Yeah,
like I say, I like the Ryanair. People want to bin it off, but I quite like it. I think it's a decent little race, and a good winner in Protectorate.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot more where it's kind of failed Gold Cup horses stepping back. I mean, the second and third both finished, I think it was. Well, they were in top 5 in last year's Gold Cup. So, it's an interesting one going forward. Yeah, we'll see what happens next year with it. But I won't say bin the Ryanair off. I think it's more the novices side of it. The turners probably don't need to be there. If you have a 2 mile and a 3 mile, why do you need something in the middle? It's just kind of, again, another reason people could dodge. That's why those people who can remember 3 days, it was crazy good. But yeah, anyway. Right, moving on. I can't believe you're shaking your head, Rich. He could tell you're flat and you don't really understand.
I just like seeing horses win.
So you like odds-on favourites all the time, do you, at the biggest week of the year?
In combinations, yeah.
Well, they don't even land because you end up with all Fabiolas, so you don't even get the Muggy Acker in. Anyway, right. This was the big one, the Stayers Hurdle. This is the banker of Cheltenham 2025, if you ask me. Teopu, I fancied him all year. And he won it well. He won it easily. I thought he won the Hatton's Grace. They kept him fresh for it. I can see him doing the same again next year because they've obviously figured it out. And I mean, you go through the field. I mean, Florin Porter obviously, was going chasing, then they reverted back. A lot of these are coming to the end of their careers now, and I don't see anything at all that's going to beat Teahupoo next year. So if we're going to put a pick up at the end, I might have to do this. Is it too early to use my captain, Rich?
What about Irish Point?
Irish Point for me.
Well, Irish Point's the question. I don't think Irish Points beat Teahupoo over 3 mile. Otherwise, why would they not? Why would this? Why go? You're just running him a champion hurdle. He ain't winning over 3 mile against Teahupoo. Teahupoo's an unbelievable horse.
When it goes down to one day and this is the only race he can run in, they'll have no choice but to.
No, I think I want them. I want them to run them against each other. I thought you were asking me who I think could win. If they run against each other, Teahupoo beats Irish Point over 3 mile, 100% all day long.
I think Jack Kennedy mentioned, didn't he, that he would choose Irish Point over the two.
I don't think he did.
For me, like I say, I was very impressed with Irish Point. I'd love to see them two go at it. Like you say, I think the Stays is, very open at the minute for, a superstar to come in and really blow the division out of the water. I know Teahupoo obviously won very well.
That's already happened, Joe. Superstars already come in and blow him out of the water.
He did, but obviously he got stuffed last year by a 15-year-old. And I just think, obviously, Florton Porter, ran over chase obstacles and, was only beaten 3 lengths, home by the Lee, an absolute nutcase, 6 lengths behind. I can't wait for Irish Point to come here and bolt next year. No, it was a great bet, to be honest. 6-1, I think you got James. 5-4. He was very comfortable, wasn't he, at the line? Like you said, I'd love to see them go head to head. Whether they do, I don't know. Who Jack would ride, I don't know. But there's a lot of these, Side of Ballet, Asterion Forlonge, Dashel Drasher, Paisley Park retired, Sir Gerhard, didn't really turn up. A lot of these are, older horses now, and I'd love to see some new ones come into the division.
What do you think, Rich? I do think it's going to be we'd like to see some young staying talent come through. And, you never know. There might be 1 or 2 maybe crop up once the season starts. But I am really struggling to see where anything's going to come from because we've kind of been watching this race now for the last 2 or 3 years and it's just the same horses coming year after year after year. Where are the youngs? We thought maybe Crambo, but he just didn't really get involved, did he?
You talk about poor races. This will be a poor race next year. You've got Flooring Port will be 10. Home by Lee will be 10. Star de Burley will be 13 if he turns up. Australia Forlonge will be 11 if he turns up. Noble Eats will be 10. Dashel Drasher will be 12. Paisley Park will be 13 if he's retired, isn't he? Janadil will be 11. It's going to be like an OAP race if they all turn up again. It's going to be a poor renewal next year. Yeah,
you can get 10-3. You can get 10-3. Teahupoo.
Wouldn't you rather go for Irish Point at a bigger price?
No, because he don't beat Teahupoo.
Do you not think?
Nah, I don't get anywhere near him, mate. Honestly, don't get anywhere near him. And to be fair, I don't know what Rob Carr. I don't know. I don't think Rob Carr are up there with JP. They may well keep them split up and not put them in the same race because it'll be such a weak race. They'd probably win it with, you know what I mean? They won't run them against each other in the sense of one of them will definitely, whichever one runs on its own wins it, I think. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. We'll do Cheltenham entry, won't we? That'll happen.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, Teahupoo, great performance, won easy, backed in nicely. That'll do me for a change. Right, what's these comments here? What's he put here? Irish Point got a hell of an engine. Has he? Has he
yes,
got an engine?
All right.
Really? Teahupoo is small. Well, I'm not sure about that. He's a Stayers Hurdle winner. Anyway, moving on then, we'll talk about the last race we'll talk about on Thursday, really, is the Mares Novice Hurdle. Because I think it's a pretty interesting race to talk about. Obviously, Joe, you were big on Brighter Days Ahead. I was big on poor old Dicer Enos. She pulled out last minute, absolutely gutted for her, because you ended up with Golden Ace winning. Brighter Days Ahead and Jid Grugia were both fancied. Both maybe didn't get the best of rides from the two best jockeys, which is quite ironic. But Joe, what did you make of it, and where do you think they end up going forward?
Yeah, it was, this was sort of another one, for the bookies, wasn't it? Golden Ace, very impressive, but a horse who's out with some very speedy flat horses, this was always going to suit a sort of slow pace and a very fast finish. Brighter Days Ahead just done too much all the way around. You know, a horse who, you know, definitely wanted a stronger pace. I'm not sure I don't think Jack had the bottle in the end to go and take it up on his own. I think, you know, Waterford Whispers sort of done that, didn't he, in the Martin Pipe, and paid for that, you know, going off and then getting outstayed. You know, Brighter Days Ahead and Jade DeGrugy, for me, are definite ones to take out of this. Jade DeGrugy didn't get the run at all. Jack Kennedy shut the door. But yeah, Golden Ace, very impressive. Nice to see Lorcan get a winner at the big festival. You know, he sort of waxed lyrical about her. When he come on the show, I didn't think she'd have enough to beat these, to be honest. But she did in the end. And, you know, it also says, you know, how good would Dysart Enos have been in this as well.
Well, I mean, there's a comment here, Dysart Enos has already smashed Golden Ace. You know, she has. And I think, obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I think the way the race panned out would have suited her down to the ground. It become a bit of a speed test towards the end. And I do think it's easy for me to sit here and say she would have won, but we don't know. But I do think it would have suited her the way the race panned out. Rich, you have an opinion on this? I mean, it looks like we're going to see this clash again on, I think it's Sunday at Fairyhouse, the Honeysuckle Mares Hurdle. They're both declared, they're both going to run Jade DeGrugy and Bright Days Ahead. Hopefully they're both in there. Be interesting to see how they get on second time round. Could see another good clash though again in such quick succession.
Yeah, you know, if Dysart Enos had turned up, should have won that, wouldn't she? Further away, it was a sprint at the end. I just don't get why Bright Days Ahead and what's he called?
Jade DeGrugy
just didn't take it up. You know, both horses have won over further. They stay further. They was never going to win in a sprint. So, yeah, strange race. I still like Brighter Days Ahead. I think she's a player in the mares next year over 2 miles 4. She's an anti-post bet that I'm going to start potentially looking at. But yeah, I just think the race was ran to suit the winner, in fairness.
None of them beat Lossiemouth in the mares next season anyway when she ends up in there. What's Michael put here? Michael, good evening, mate. You all right? Reckon you should do entry, you lads. You're so decisive. So bad luck came to me first 2 days. Pulled it back last 2 days. Glad you pulled it back. Yes, we're going to be doing entry. We'll be doing a preview of entry anyway. And,
Michael, you want to be able to pull it back when James knocks it down to 2 days.
I mean, I've not said this at all. I've literally said, I mean, just go look at what Kevin Blake said. They're the changes that should be made. It's still 4 days, Rich. You still have some good races. Just a couple of the races need to be tweaked to help make the best go against the best. So don't you be moaning to me when Lossiemouth ends up in the mares next season at 1 to 3 on. She wins, because she will. You can bookmark this. Lossiemouth wins the mares next year. Telling you now.
She goes to the champion hurdle.
Yeah.
Not when she gets spanked. Not when she gets spanked by State Man early in the season.
No, but I think as long as they face each other, you know, if State Man spanks Lossiemouth 10, 15 lengths, then you're going to say fair enough. But as long as you see that clash, you know, that they might keep them apart. I think they'll be kept apart till the start of next season. But as long as you're seeing them clash at least once or twice a season, you know,
you're probably not seeing clash till the DRF, but they will clash at some point, and then you'll know.
I think he'll probably campaign him a little bit like he did State Man in Imperial Pass. You know, one will probably go the Morgiana and one will go the Hatton's Grace, maybe. Actually, they might not.
You can do a Lossiemouth beats to Hoopoo, James, in that clash. But
Nah. I don't know how they're going to campaign him. I think they might just throw him in. I think they might just say throw him in together and see what happens. And when State Man wins, that's it, decided. But yeah, I agree with this here. Brighter Days Ahead needs further. Yeah, I agree with that. And what's that? French have no chance in our Gold Cup. Where did you get that idea? No, somebody mentioned it earlier, Michael. Somebody mentioned Le Francais, but I don't think they'll come over for it, to be honest. But yeah, right. Moving on to the last day then. But then we'll wrap up with a couple of little announcements sort of thing. But yeah, the Triumph then. Oh, I mean, the week just got worse and worse for me. I'm not going to lie. But Sergino, I'd been on him massively from the word go. I do think he's an unbelievable horse, and he pulled him out because of the issues. What else can you say? I mean, I was so excited, and he pulled him out, so I was a little bit deflated. It is what it is. What can we do? Joe, you quite liked Milesborough, the winner in the end. Yeah, it was a steady race, and he just got come out of nowhere. But what a performance!
Yeah, mate. Funny story. To be fair, I did. You know, I love Margeborough. I didn't massively fancy him for this race. I thought it'd have been done for tour.
It took a bit of big drift as well towards the start time.
Yeah, he took a huge drift, mate. Went off 6-1. I had Nürburgring and Salva both each way. I managed to get Nürburgring at 4 places and Salva obviously 3 places, both places. I was happy with that. To be honest, I was a bit gutted Margeborough won because I wanted him at a bigger price for next season. He's an absolute giant, isn't he? He wasn't made for that race at all. I'm so surprised he won. He won it easily in the end. It just shows, he is a galloper, an absolute galloper. He's not a speed horse, he's a galloper. Like you say, it was pretty disappointing, to not see Sergino in there because I think he'd have put these all to bed, to be honest. But yeah, Margeborough and Salva probably 2 I'd take out of this next season for chasing. Cargie's not sure where she will go. But yeah, Margeborough and Salva 2 I really like. And Nürburgring, I think better ground. That horse really, really did stay on well. He was sort of early on out the back, struggling to jump, heavy ground. He'd only really encountered good to soft, I think, in Ireland and sort of showed speed. But yeah, carried on. I think better ground for Nürburgring. I think he'll stay over hurdles. And then Salva and Margeborough for chasing next season.
It's an interesting thought. I personally, I wouldn't be backing any juveniles coming out until you genuinely see how they get on in open company. We know how iffy the record can be. I know Lossiemouth, they've kind of broken that a little bit, but we didn't see it till second half of the season, so it'll be interesting to see where they all end up. And hopefully we get to see Sergino out very soon. I know a few people have mentioned Sergino for chasing, but I won't be so sure what they might do because I think Nicky might just have a little step back and see what goes on with his team, to be honest. But yeah, I do really like Sergino. It's a shame we didn't get to see him, but what did you think on the Triumph, Rich?
Yeah, I like Milesborough. I think he's going to make some chaser next year. He's a big strapping unit. I was on Nürburgring and I thought it was a strange ride. He was out the back all the way around. He made late headway, but still finished down the path. I thought it was a strange one. Yeah, I like the winner. I think he's going to be a good horse. Cargies probably goes mares next year. Salva, love the soft ground. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting to see where they all end up trying for losses. It's always tough to guess where they're going to go. So just maybe be patient with it and just see what happens and what maybe you get your ear to the ground and see what comes through. But yeah, decent race. Shame about Sergino. Anyway, the Albert Bartlett then, another bit of a obviously Rich, stellar story. You liked him for quite a long time, so we all had a little bit of money on him, and it's a big price. Great winner. Love it. 33-1. Anybody on the jukebox man must be absolutely gutted because he looked the winner. He looked the winner until the last 3 inch, which is obviously tough. I liked a bit of Dancing City. He stayed on for a place. Reading Tommy wrong run, no race after being smashed in the betting. I mean, looking back now, and it's a mistake I'll never make again. But I'm never going to ever think of a horse that's anywhere near. If you're looking at this race next season, I'd just wait till the day and back. Only look at anything that's double figures or above. Don't be looking at anything underneath because there's no point. The jukebox man 18-1, Stellar Story 33-1. Yeah, 40-1 there. It's big prices. These hot Irish horses, they just seem to come out of nowhere. So
the trend's always the favourites have a shocking. The favourites always have a shocking trend in this. So
they certainly do. It's almost a bit harsh because the way that he was getting back to Reading Tommy wrong was almost as if this was the second coming. You know what I mean? He went off 2-1, which is a ridiculous price for an Albert Bartlett. Yeah, 2-1 favourite he went off, but yeah, fair play for Stellar Story. And Joe, what were your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, mate, 100%. like you say, the jukebox man, we've seen Harry Redknapp's facial expressions. He was absolutely gutted. Johnny Who, I didn't have a big bet on it. I think it was about £5 each way. Was very keen all the way around, ran no race. I was very disappointed with High Class Hero and Reading Tommy Wrong, the two Willie horses. A race I wasn't massive on anyway, to be honest. But yeah, a good race for Rich.
Yeah, I mean, I've just remembered, obviously, looking down the list, but obviously I had Sergino, a non-runner, and then I had Shanna Bob as also a non-runner. It was one of my main fancies for this race at a big price. So, yeah, it was a very tough start to Friday. But quick word on Stella Story, Rich, and what are you thinking?
Yeah, he's a horse that I liked. I saw him, I didn't see him, but I was at Cheltenham, I think, when he won his debut. And the next time out, he finished third or second. But after that, he just looked like a stayer and just needed that step up in trip. And yeah, I just thought he was an out-and-out stayer. And yeah, with Bartlett, that's the sort of type of horse that you need. And like you say, favourites have a poor record. Somebody at a big price always wins it. And yeah, happy days. I'd quite like to see him in National Chase if it's still around next year.
It will be around, but just hopefully he won't be running it because he'll be too highly rated. Anyway, right, the big one. That's enough on that. No. Galloping Deschamps is a back-to-back Gold Cup champion, and what a performance. I mean, this was just a brilliant performance. In fact, somebody's put a comment here. Shanna Bob next year, 50-1. What's that race? What's that for? It could be a Brown advisory type if they go chasing with him.
Donkey Derby, innit? Next year.
Is what?
Donkey Derby, Class 5, something like that.
Probably, yeah, probably. But yeah, anyway, the Gold Cup, Galloping Deschamps, fantastic performance. Jerry Colomstead on for second, Quite Rambler for third. Obviously, just a quick run through, but a couple of these pulled up. Fast or Slow, unseated, which was a bit unlucky. He was obviously still running a good race, and the loose horse just caused a little bit of chaos, but luckily it didn't. But yeah, Rich, Galloping Deschamps, I mean, he battered him, didn't he? It was a brilliant performance, a proper Gold Cup winning performance. And yeah, I was mega impressed, and I'm struggling to see what beats him next year, although it's very hard, as we know, to win 3.
Yeah, like I say, after, what was it? Where did he run first? But that was over 2 miles, 4, whatever it was. After that, he's just been sensational, To win it twice is very difficult. To win it 3 times, I mean, that would be like legendary status. Yeah, he's going to be close again next year, in my eyes, but I'm sure Paul, after the race, said that he didn't think there was a lot left in that tank. I just wonder, another year, another effort, how much is going to be left for a third attempt. I mean, I won't be backing him for Punchestown, put it that way. Definitely not. I'd like to see him win it a third time. I think he's got a great chance, but I just think he's a bit more vulnerable to something a bit fresher, like a Factor File, who is coming in with a big rep, and it's going to be some race. I'll just say that it's going to be some race.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that. I think if anyone's thinking, I mean, we're talking, 12 months away, but if anyone's thinking of backing Galloping Deschamps, I'd definitely maybe wait just till after the end of the season, because obviously we know Punchestown can throw a lot of weird results out. I mean, he's been beaten at the start of the season this season, so, maybe just take a bit of time to wait and see how he gets on, because you don't know. I mean, we see it with some horses where Gold Cup can take a lot out of them, never mind 2 Gold Cups, so I'd want to see what sort of horse
he's
comes back.
He's had a long season as well. He's danced every dance this year.
Exactly. It's nice when horses do that, isn't it? I mean, we won't go into that. That's another issue altogether. But, Joe, what did you think on the Gold Cup? Can he go back and win it again?
Yeah, 100%. I tell you one I would like, if it come up very, very soft, I thought he ran a brilliant race, was Jerry Colombe. He was well battered, wasn't he, at Leopardstown by Galloping, 23 lengths. And he shut that down to 3 lengths. Obviously, Galloping would have been absolutely A1 for this, and so would Jerry Colombe, to be honest. But, like Rich said there, he's won by 3 lengths, and, watching him come round the home bend, you're probably thinking, he's entitled to win by 10 lengths here. Don't get me wrong, did Paul get massively serious on him? I think he did at one point, and he had the race wrapped up. But like you both said there, I think, another year on his back, when he's, if he does sort of the same, run through as last year, when he turns out of Punchestown in the 2 mile 3, the John Durkin, he's probably going to get tap for toe there. And you're probably going to get a bigger price. Correct Rambler shortened straight away, didn't he? For the national 5-1 favourite now, very short. But yeah, to be fair, the one I'd take out of that race is probably Jerry Cologne.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. I don't think I've never really grown to Jerry Cologne. I do think, like you said there, you kind of said, if it comes up very soft, I mean, I think you're unlikely to get that. But yeah, I've just rewatched the ending there. It don't look too bad there galloping. It don't look like Paul Tanlin were even going hammer and tongue on him, to be honest.
No, that's what I mean. It doesn't look like he's going hammer and tongue. But I just thought like there was a bit where I think Jack cut him off and he pulled the horse on the outside and he shook him up and he sort of within a few strides, he jumped the last a length ahead or something. And I thought, he's going to wrap this up here and he's just going to bolt off up the hill. And he ran up the hill, but I didn't think he extended massively. Like I say, he won the race. He done it unbelievably well. He's won it 2 years in a row. I'm not taking anything away from the horse by no means. He's absolutely unbelievable. But as of next year, it may be a worry if it comes up heavy ground and it's a slog or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, we've obviously seen, like I said there, what a Gold Cup can do to people, do to horses, sorry. So I've been wanting to see how he gets on early season. But yeah, I'd love to see him go do it. I don't think he'll be as short a price as he was this time round, because obviously there'll be quite a few more coming into it. A few unknown entities have come from the novice division. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the race looks like next year. But fingers crossed he gets there, and he'll dance every dance by then as well. So yeah, great horse, absolutely love him. I think he's brilliant. And is a proper legend of the game. Right. Is there anything else you lads would like to talk about before we announce the winner of the competition, and then maybe just mention what we're going to do for the flat or for entry as well, to be fair?
No,
talk about anything else? You want to talk about the mares?
I'd like to cry over Waterford Whispers. I was waiting on him for a big pot. I don't know. I do know how he got beat. They went a crawl, and Mike O'Connor's trying to take it up. I definitely think he's the horse to take out the race. But I tell you what, I'm not. I don't really like to talk out my pocket, and I'm not going to. I think Danny Gilligan rode an absolute peach on Brighter Days Ahead to get him up that hill. I think it was about 3 out. He was at work, and he's managed to get Brighter Days Ahead up the hill and staying on. Absolute brilliant ride. But I was gutted for Waterford Whispers, to be honest.
I mean, I had a tough day on the Friday night. Obviously, with Sergino and Shanna Bob missing out, and then I was on Leo de Sud that come second. I was on that Waterford Whispers as well that come second. I was on, what was the other one? The one in the Fox Hunters.
It's on the line.
It's on the line that comes second. It was just an absolute shit show.
Yeah. He'll win next year. That's another anti-post bet.
Will he though?
He's too. If you look at the trends, he was too young to win it. That's what I'm saying to myself. Next year, he's the right age in the trends to win. So there you go. It's written in stars.
Yeah, it just looks an absolute stink of a ride, didn't he? I mean, Derek O'Connor was like fighting him nearly the whole chuffing way. But yeah, what's he put here? I am still sobbing over Waterford Whispers. Oh dear, but yeah. I mean, overall, it was an okay Cheltenham. We had a few winners here, a few winners there. It's one of them. It's, we'll always enjoy the build-up. I enjoy the build-up probably more than the week itself, to be honest. And I enjoyed this series that we did, and I think hopefully if we can achieve that again next season with the jockeys on every week and stuff, I think I'll be more than happy. And then you just sort of roll the dice when the week comes along. But yeah, any final words, lads, on the whole Cheltenham Festival?
I enjoyed it. Roll on next year.
Yeah, like I say, it was my first Cheltenham Festival, and I absolutely loved it. Hopefully I'll do I'm going to plan on doing the full week next year.
Well, somebody's made of money.
Need some deep pockets.
I know. No, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. My brother, as I was coming home on the Wednesday night, Thursday morning, he was going on the Wednesday, And, you know, he was there. To be fair, I thought Thursday was probably one of the best days racing this year. In terms of actual races, Tuesday, Wednesdays, you know, the best. But I thought Thursday was brilliant. I was gutted I wasn't there for it. And yeah, fingers crossed you lads will join me because I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Fingers crossed we can all get on this year, a podcast anti-post favourite we can all be on and we can watch it bolting in Cheltenham.
I think what we might have to do is just week one we'll just all get on one horse and then we'll not put anything else up for the rest of it because then we'll probably do all right then.
Langer down for the Coral Cup.
Yeah, that's bang right, mate. That's bang right. But yeah, like I say, it's been a good festival. It's been a great series and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. And obviously, thank you everyone that's watched it and said, you know, we've had loads of comments saying that they've enjoyed it. And it was a great build up to the festival. So we'll definitely be doing that next year. So then to finish a little bit on this rest of this year, obviously we're going to have another tiny little break, but we're going to come back for the Aintree Festival. That will as well. We get built up for that. And then there'll be Punchestown where we might do, it might be like a bit of a double episode week sort of thing. I think we're going to do the Monday and kind of preview the first half of Punchestown. And obviously the Thursday will be the second half of Punchestown. But more importantly, Rich, what will it be on that Thursday?
It's the Guineas weekend.
It's the big flat kickoff and the Guineas weekend. Oh my God, it's nearly here. I know you two lads will be counting down the days, won't you?
It's scary. It's absolutely flown over. I mean, Augusta Rodin's out, isn't he? Soon, and you know all the big names are back. I think Aidan had a winner tonight at Dundalk. You know, they're all rattling. To be fair, I really enjoyed it last year. You know, we have a new Ponty Prince up there.
Oh yeah, Pontefract is back a week today. I'll be there. If you're going to be at Ponty, come say hello. I'll be doing some bit of content there and putting up probably at least 7 winners from 7 races on the first opening day. Ponty, come on.
Yeah, and we'll have loads. I know
my hat is up there ready to rock and roll.
Get it down now, Rich. Sod it. Get it down now. Cheltenham's done the jumps.
I'm at Newcastle all weather this Friday.
Oh, so there we go. Look, the boys in blue. Oh,
I'll have a few. I'll have a few sort of bits and bobs from there. I'll try and get some good content and some stuff out. I'm sure we'll we can put a tip up 1 or 2 each on there for Newcastle on Friday. And yeah, I can't wait for the flat. To be fair, this is the awkward part we were just on about it, wasn't it? Where you've got like flat here and jumps there and the sort of not aligning. But no, I can't wait. And then, we'll blink twice and we'll be back on the anti-post show with fingers crossed all the good jockeys and stuff again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the flat's coming up now, and I think the plan is we've obviously done 2 shows a week through the jumps of the anti-post show. We are going to continue doing 2 shows a week. We've decided we're going to do, obviously, there'll be a preview of the weekend, and then the Monday will be a little bit of a weekend review / eye catchers style episode where we are hoping to have guests. We might have a few lined up already. You'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be class. It's going to be thoroughly enjoyable, and I personally can't wait. So that's that. So the last thing then, I mean, what's this comment here by? Whether this is Ginger Lad's gorgeous. You've got a fan here, Joe.
Thank you, Regan.
But yeah, so obviously one last thing before we go. We did have a bit of a competition running. Oh, Rich, did you find the name for me? We had a bit of a competition going where we asked people to put their anti-post teams in.
I put it in the chat, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, sorry. And so the winner, we went through the teams, even though basically one person decided to carry on the whole way.
Week in, week out.
Winners. Who did they have? They had Factorfile at a big price, Ballyburn at a big price, and Teahupoo at a big price. And overall, they had a good week. So that winner is, drum roll, please, Jacob Walkland.
No. Wait, not a drum roll. A pen roll.
Give us a pen tap. But yeah, Jacob, mate, drop us a line. We'll get you the prize. Obviously, you've won a bundle. You've won.
We have to rewatch the first episode to find out.
We'll have to rewatch the first episode and remind ourselves of what's in the bundle. But I'm pretty sure it was something on the lines of a pair of socks, a mug, a coaster, something else. But yeah, I think there's a pin in there as well. So we'll double check on the prize. But it's a decent prize. Obviously, it's a good bundle to have. And we'll talk to you about how we want to do it and what horses or what colours you want. And yeah, congratulations, mate. Thanks for supporting the channel. That's it. We're obviously flying now, lads. We're on our way to 700 subscribers, which is pretty crazy after a sensational jump season. It's not quite finished yet, but there's more to come. We're rolling into the flat. Hopefully, everyone's enjoyed tonight. Just a little bit of a debrief, a little bit of a light chat about it. But yeah, all systems go now for Aintree, Punchestown, and the flat. Hopefully, you'll all subscribe. And any new subscribers, thanks for tuning in. And hopefully, there's more to come from us. There'll be plenty more to come from us, starting with Ponty on Tuesday. Rich, any last words, Joe?
No, good to be back. You know, another little break before we get back into it properly. So, yeah, all fingers crossed. Let's go.
Yeah, I can't
Your
wait.
final word?
Yeah, I can't wait now. Like I say, we'll finish off strong, you know, Punchestown, Aintree, and then straight into the flat. You know, we've got the big meetings. And I think the one good thing as well about the flat for us, we've got a fair few local tracks that we'll be going to, and we'll be getting, you know, bits of content here and there. And hopefully we'll have our days out at York like we did last season, you know, and we'll get more content. So yeah, I can't wait now. Fingers crossed, you know, a few weeks of getting over Cheltenham and recovering and then straight back at it.
Yeah, that's the one, mate. Like I say, it's been a good season. Last couple of meetings and into the flat, but we've got a lot planned and we're very, very excited. It should be a belting summer and hopefully you can all join us for the fun. Cheers, Bartlett, for tuning in and saying hello. And cheers, John, as well. Congratulations. Well done on Apple race. You won well. Hope she's all right. And
You're not going to just announce the anti-post teams ourselves, how we got on?
Oh, do you really want to do it? Do you really want to announce it real quick?
I think I did pretty well considering.
So just a quick summary then. Is this right? No, that's not it, is it?
No, that's not the right one.
I ain't got it on here. Rich. Sorry, mate.
It's on Instagram. Anybody that wants to have a look?
If you jump on our Instagram, we'll put it up there. I think I ended up. What did I end up about 12? You have to remind me, Rich.
40 summit points due to your captain's pick. Otherwise, I would have won somehow miraculously.
So I won. Is that what you're saying? So I won.
Yes, in the rules of the game.
I won the game of the Cheltenham anti-post show.
Yeah.
Congratulations, James.
Anti-post rules, I would have won.
What do I win? Absolutely nothing.
To say you are the expert.
Well, apparently so. I can get horses there with all the value, but then, I mean, to be fair, Endo did me over, didn't he, pulling them all out? But that is what it is.
Oh, wait. We've got a tip from John.
Have we? Sorry, I'm turning my comments off. Apple for Aintree. Oh, there we go. Well, she's run at Cheltenham, so it might be tough for her to back it up, but we shall see. Hopefully she runs well, John, and hopefully you get to go and see her and have a cracking day. But yeah, bragging rights correct. I have the bragging rights. The first ever Cheltenham anti-post countdown show. I am the winner. I am the best.
It was an any race muggy selection as well. It was
I didn't playing any race, to be honest.
It was what I like to call a smart selection. We knew Ballyburn would go either way. We knew Sladesteel would win the other race. The plan worked out perfectly.
Next year, I'm just putting Muggy Yackers on.
Yeah, because Muggy Yackers work, don't they?
You should have picked like a big 25-1 winner like I did. Happy days. One winner.
Well, like I say, if you only get to a festival with one runner, at least make it a big win.
Langer down.
But no, yeah, it's been a great series, and we'll be doing it all again next season because we love the racing. But yeah, all systems go towards the flat where these lads. I'm going to take on the two flat experts apparently. So you best not be getting beat by me.
Can I say, Daryl Jacob knew all along, didn't he? He put a factor file any race back when it first started the early days.
Yeah, he knew.
And to be fair, Harry Skelton did jokingly put up Langer Dan, so we really should have just listened, shouldn't we?
Yeah, rather than giving me West Balboa.
Chuffing hell, yeah. But yeah, overall it's been great, and we'll be doing it all again next season, and I can't wait for it. So yeah, I'm a little bit more upbeat now. I was a little bit miserable for a bit, but we'll keep rocking and rolling. Thank you everyone for tuning in. That'll do us. I'm going to have some tea now. But yeah, we'll be back in sort of 2 weeks time or a week and a half time for Aintree. So hopefully you can all join us then. We'll be live again. We love hearing you guys' opinion. Drop your comments in and chat with us. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. And we'll see you all again next time. Cheers, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.